Hello and welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Paul Chickatano. Joining us by telephone is Florida Governor Rick Scott. Governor, welcome to Newsmax TV.
Well, it's great to be here.
Well, last night, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker successfully defended his fiscal reforms in a special recall. Do you see the outcome as a validation of the programs that you've put in place in Florida?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at what we know now, is that if you run on a campaign of fiscal responsibility, making your state a business-friendly state, reducing taxes, reducing regulation, putting people in place that are going to be pro-business because that's where jobs get created by businesses, then the public's going to support you. Governor Walker had a great win last night. We're doing the right thing here. I've reduced the business tax with the support of the legislature. For businesses that have been paying the tax by two-thirds of companies don't have to pay it anymore. This year we passed legislation that will make it easier for manufacturing and other companies to buy machinery and equipment without paying a sales tax. We've reduced a significant amount of regulation. I've appointed individuals that care about businesses, and guess what? We've had the biggest drop in unemployment in the country other than one state. We're at a 3-year low. Our workforce boards are filling about 30,000 jobs a month. The number of people on unemployment has gone from 568,000 to 340,000. CEO Magazine just came out and said we are the second best state for business. Governor Perry is next one. I let him know that next year I'm very focused on us being the number one state for business, which means we'll be the number one state for job creation.
Governor, is last night's Wisconsin election a bellwether for the presidential election and perhaps the Florida vote in that election?
Absolutely. The public is speaking. They know that the big government, more taxes, more regulation doesn't work. They know that we can't have. Think about what the national election is going to be about. It's going to be about job creation. That's exactly what my race was like in 2010. I had a plan for job creation. Governor Romney, as long as he explains his plan to the public, reducing taxes, reducing regulation, having a pro-business attitude, then he's going to win. This is going to be about jobs. We cannot have, at the federal level, the highest corporate tax rates in the world, more regulation than the rest of the world, and expect for businesses to flock to our country.
The U.S. Department of Justice has essentially demanded that the Sunshine State stop searching for and purging non-citizen voters from Florida's voting rolls. First, why did you feel it necessary to take such action, and are you planning to stop?
Well, I won my election in 2010. I became the governor in January of 2011. When I did the oath of office, I said I was going to uphold the laws of Florida. Part of that is to make sure that we have fair and honest elections. None of us believe that somebody that doesn't have a right to vote should be voting in our elections. All of us believe that everyone that does have a right to vote should go out and register to vote and get involved in elections and vote. So I'm going to continue to make sure that the law of Florida is enforced, and that's the law that only individuals that have a right to vote. But I'm going to encourage everybody that has the right to vote to get out and register, get involved in campaigns, and vote.
Now, that said, do you think that there's a political motivation behind the Justice Department telling Florida to leave non-citizens on its voter rolls?
I always hope that people are doing things for the right reasons, but I know my job is to enforce the laws of Florida. I expect every other elected official to enforce the laws of the state. We have a great state. We want people involved in our elections, but we only want people involved in our elections that have a right to vote.
All right, well, turning to another issue, the Supreme Court is expected to rule on Obamacare any day now. What is your expectation on the High Court's ruling, and what steps is Florida taking in the event that the Supreme Court upholds the president's controversial health care reform law?
Well, I'm very hopeful that the Supreme Court will declare the law unconstitutional. At a minimum, acknowledge that the federal government doesn't have a right to tell us how we should spend our dollars. Should not be telling us that we have to buy something. Where would it stop? We have to buy the federal government's cell phone, broccoli, whatever you want to talk about. Now, if it is not declared unconstitutional and if it's not repealed, then we will have no choice but to enforce the law. But I'm very optimistic that, one, they'll be declared unconstitutional, and two, if it's not, that we will elect individuals this fall that will acknowledge we have to repeal it because it's going to be the biggest job killer ever. It's bad for patients. It's going to ration care. It's bad for taxpayers. We won't be able to afford it. And it's going to put Florida and American business at a significant disadvantage to businesses around the world.
Well, last question, Governor, on jobs. You've already alluded to it, but how are you attacking the unemployment rate in Florida?
What I'm doing is making sure that this is the most business-friendly state in the country. And the way you do that is think like a business. You know, the businesses' customers know they want lower prices, so they do business with companies that do business in places with lower taxes, less regulation, shorter permitting processes, less litigation. Now, there's clearly certain regulations we need, permitting processes we need, but we can't have things that are simply impediments to business. Our country was built on capitalism. I believe in it. I know it raises the standard of living for all Americans. And I personally believe that all elected officials have a moral responsibility to make their area, whether it's a city, county, state, or federal level, places where individuals have the ability to get a job.
Our guest today has been Florida Governor Rick Scott. Governor, thank you for being on Newsmax TV.
It's great to be here. Have a great day.